Ladies and gents, if I was in the witch cult, this will be the demand that I put on the list as a non negotiable. A non negotiable. Absolutely non negotiable. Yeah, yeah. I know. I was just banning every single ReZero keyword we could think of on Twitter to avoid spoilers. And so every single English keyword related to ReZero you could possibly think of is banned. And then I started getting stuff in Korean, and I'm like, how am I supposed to ban this? I can't even read Korean. What am I supposed to do at this point, you know? And then this popped up, and I'm like, damn, those Koreans are wild. They're more wild than the Japanese, to be honest. I didn't, but like, yeah, I'd pop it in as a non-negotiable demand. Um, but we had a lot of good chats as we always do on Discord during the week. And one really cool thing that we had, which was a little bit funny, but at the end of the previous episode, you pretty much got Reinhardt and he, rocks up finally, right? And everyone's like, yeah, we got a plan. And obviously, Subaru being Subaru, he's going to go for Emilia first because, let's face it. And we know that Reggie wants to have a wedding ceremony. And I was just sort of imagining this scenario where the first thing Subaru does is he's just gonna like waltz into the wedding and be like, "I object!" And as you sort of know, in any sort of wedding, the best man's job, in case someone objects to the groom and bride marrying each other, is that he is the stand-in for the duel between the groom and whoever's objecting, because that's what the objection is. You're basically challenging the groom to a duel. And so the best man is there to actually fight on the behalf of the groom. But the thing is, Reggie doesn't have anyone that's going to fight on his behalf. And also, Reggie's kind of broken, right? But Subaru's, after the objection, is going to be like, I nominate Reinhard. And it's going to be like, wait, can the person objecting to the wedding nominate someone? Like, is that how, you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. I don't know if that's allowed. You know what I mean? Why can the person objecting nominate someone? But anyway, so that was a little thing that went through my head. And I think that would just actually be funny because as we've seen, Reggie's got some sort of force field around him every single time someone's trying to attack him. So all the attacks are just sort of like bouncing around him or bouncing off or not really doing anything. It's almost like you're dealing with pain, to be honest. And whenever he's using something, whether it be a rock or something or dirt, he's able to control the trajectory as well as just, up the momentum times 1,000 and turn a pebble into a bullet sort of thing. So, I don't know. I'm feeling something like pain, to be honest, with the almighty push sort of mechanism and almighty pull or whatever. But, like, that's what I'm sort of feeling. But I would also find that funny, considering how broken Reinhardt is. So, like, Reinhardt would just Tsukarashpi tackle Reggie, and Reggie's like, yeah, you can't hurt me. But also Reinhardt, you know what I mean? Like, when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, what happens, Well, let's find out. It'd just be funny. One of the two will win, you know? Either Reggie's not as invulnerable as he thinks he is, or Reinhardt isn't as broken as he thinks he is. So one of two things will happen. So that would be pretty sort of funny. So yeah, I was sort of thinking of that. And then we were also discussing which factor you would personally want and the different pros and cons. And we had an awesome discussion in Discord. We have an absolute blast in Discord. Was the ReZero thread. We had that discussion, and then we also had a little bit of a discussion as to who would win the royal sort of competition amongst the delegates, the princesses, and all of that. And I think the sort of consensus we arrived to was really that there is no optimal candidate because each of them brings something very different to the table. And, I'll use Felt as an example. She's sort of from the streets and she understands the struggle of the common folk. And she solves a very real problem, which is, you've got people that are sort of stabbing people in the streets and robbing people and doing all these bad things. But she resolves that by giving them an opportunity, to be a part of something. Essentially, she employs them as part of her sort of crew, let's call it. But she doesn't treat any of them as subordinates or slaves or anything like that. She sort of just treats them as members of her team, like employees or whatever you want to do. And she doesn't abuse her position because she understands what it's like to be at the bottom. She's a person that sort of had to fight to survive. And so she doesn't really want to take advantage of people. She actually cares about people. She's very aware of their struggle. And then she's got someone as OP as Reinhardt on her team, but at the same time, she doesn't actually abuse her position. She never sort of tells him, do this, do that. She's sort of like, Reinhardt, go make yourself useful. I'll be fine as a hostage here. He won't hurt me. Like, you know what I mean? She's not abusing her power. She could very easily just be like, Reinhardt, kill the other 4 delegates for me. You know what I mean? And like roll credits. But she wouldn't do that. She's not that type of person. She's too focused on like, okay, I don't even want to be this princess or ruler or whatever. But since I have this power, I'm going to use it to help the people that need help. You know what I mean? That's her priority. But while being loved is incredibly important, and of course she would get a lot of support from the common folk, particularly those that struggle, she doesn't really have, at least from what I've seen, the knowledge, the capacity, and the skill to deal with broader economic negotiations and business and policy, with other nation, with other factions, with nobles and things like that. But another princess does, But she wouldn't be able to understand the common folk because, a little bit like Marie Antoinette, the peasants are complaining they don't have bread to eat. Let them eat cake. Like, she's so far removed from the common folk, she cannot even fathom what their struggles are. So she would be an ineffective ruler for a large demographic of the kingdom. So you've got like the sort of economic and the noble dealing, and you've got the common folk. But what's sort of missing? These sound like peacetime rulers. What happens in wartime? Well, it just so happens that we have a potential candidate that's an excellent military leader. In case of wartime, you have someone that actually knows what to do, knows how to rally people, understands strategy, and all these other things. It's like, okay, that's someone bringing something very important to the table. You know what I mean? And then, you've got people that are understood and that are loved and that will be followed and they're going to negotiate. But what are you going to do when push comes to shove? How do you keep order within the kingdom? Well, you also need to be feared at times. You need to be able to understand both motivation, reward, but also punishment for disobedience. If only there was a candidate that personifies those things. Someone that wears red, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So ideally, your outcome would be a coalition or an alliance of multiple candidates that would bring a lot more to the table than any single one of them could alone. And then, of course, the conversation went to, well, that wouldn't work because the dragon wants one and something like this. And I'm like, has anyone actually spoken to the dragon? Like, I understand everyone thinks this is what the dragon wants, but like, imagine 3 or 4 of them rock up to the dragon and say, hey, we want to work together. This is the outcome. I'm pretty sure the dragon would be surprised that humans, for once in their miserable existence, were actually able to work together for the greater good rather than kill each other in a battle royale. I don't know, if I was some mythical dragon and I've been watching people be idiots for the last 20 centuries, I'd genuinely be surprised that people aren't killing each other. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, like, whatever this thing is might be slightly, I don't know, misinterpreted. I don't know, I'm just saying. Alright, but like, I don't know, I'm just saying. But, so the conversation obviously went in all these directions, and then from there it started talking about what would you do, what would your strategy be, who's the blah, 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 blah. But that's the type of shit we actually talk about in between the weeks, and I wanted to bring that up, because obviously those type of convos might actually happen in the reaction, or the post-reaction, or the pre-reaction, or whatever, and I just kind of want to keep you guys in the loop, because I know not all of you on the Discord, not all of you chatting, not all of you are reading, but we have a lot of these conversations, so I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed, so if I start talking about something in the reaction, you guys aren't out of loop. Considering the world, I would say the dragon would refuse. Probably. I also find it sus that the dragon is asking for a bunch of teenagers to be brought forth to him and doesn't want anyone over the age of 18. I find that sus. Like, that dragon is pretty sus, I'm just saying. Why is it young girls? I'm just saying, that dragon's pretty sus. I'm just saying. If you wanted someone capable, they might need to be over the age of 20 with a little bit of experience. Why is the dragon asking for young girls every single time? I don't know. Seems a little bit sus to me. But anyway, that's just a theory, a Kuma theory. But yeah. And then there's also a bunch of, freaking fan art that everyone keeps posting, which is, where we got Betelgeuse's fourth demand and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, so everyone is up to speed about the Diddy Dragon. Cool. So now we got our good old-fashioned episode 8. We discussed what would be funny happening with Subaru's I Object. And someone also mentioned something, I don't know if it's 100% or not, but someone linked a tweet, and apparently the author confirmed that Reggie doesn't actually sleep with any of his wives because he finds the act of reproduction disgusting. And I'd say that kind of explains why his wives are so unhappy. I mean, he's not fulfilling his obligations as a husband. He's not satisfying their needs. But also at the same time, that means he's never actually consummated any of the marriages. So all of them could be nullified. None of the marriages were consummated. Absolutely none. They're basically null and void. You know what I mean? Like, in the eyes of old school religion, back in the day where you couldn't divorce people, because the marriage was never, I forgot the word now, but consummated, you could nullify it. So it's not technically a divorce. The marriage contract has not been completed. The bedding ceremony never took place. So in the eyes of the most strict of churches in the olden days that used to burn witches, you would technically be allowed to annul the marriage. Which I find pretty interesting. So it's pretty interesting. I don't know. Anyway, I just found that interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The conversations we have. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's interested about that shit, but I like those sort of parallels. Oh, and also something else that someone mentioned. Al being sus. And I was like, last episode, that's a little bit, rude to call Al sus just because he answered one of the mirrors. Because, let's face it, even Subaru answered one of the mirrors. That act in itself is not sus. But everyone was like, well, hang on. He knows about greed. He knows about the names of certain people. He knows about, events that he shouldn't. He said he was looking for Priscilla. He ends up somewhere else. And he's nowhere to be found when the Watergate was opened. And then apparently the camera pans to him twice when they're talking about the Watergate being open. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But at the same time, it could be a red herring sent to mislead you a little bit. He could be working on something that we don't know what he's working on. Or it could be doing something for Priscilla that we don't know about. You know what I mean? Okay, fair enough. A little bit suspicious. But I wouldn't, rule him as working with the witch cult just yet. Maybe he's undermining the city to give Priscilla an advantage or some crap. I don't know. But, I don't know. Too early to rule him out as working for the witch cult. Maybe their goals align. Maybe they don't. I don't know. And we had another little theory where it was could it be possible that our good friend Al here is a Subaru from a previous timeline? By which I mean, he lived out his whatever life in a new world from zero. The outcome that he got at the end of the day was not a good one. And Satella basically just picked him up, put him at the beginning of the loop where Subaru is, but he got to keep his physical body, hence he doesn't have an arm. So all other things being equal, he got to keep his body, he got to keep his memories and everything, but he just got plucked out of the end to the beginning, which would explain why he knows all these things, because he's been through it and survived once already. And, he's just lost an arm in the process. But, you know what I mean? Anyway, shit like that. We discussed a lot of shit like that. Obviously, no one spoiled anything. Thank Christ you spoil something, we throw you in a well. But, a lot of good stuff, A lot of good stuff. And another really big thing that came to me now was, and we sort of discussed this in season 2, but it comes down to direction and motivation of where the series is going and who the actual antagonists are. Because S1, it's all about Satella is the big bad. But we see that all the acts the witches did are credited now to Satella, rather than Satella being solely responsible for all the acts. And on top of that, in season 2, it's like, she's not exactly the big baddie. And then the question mark of who is came up. And then shortly after, we find out about Pandora. We find out about Echidna being killed. We find out about that archbishop who's the clown who beat the living shit out of Roswell and turned him into a clown in the process, you know, and all these other things. So, okay, who are they working for? Why are they killing witches? Well, it seems to be that they're going around killing witches, grabbing their body, and grabbing witch factors. Why? Exactly. And then we, of course, see Reggie. That's one of the, let's say, stronger ones with Pandora. And then when she got sick of him, she's like, go F off. You know what I mean? So there's almost a little bit of a hierarchy going on there, you know? With Pandora possibly being at the apex. And since we're going from 7 deadly sins to 9, Pandora being the 8th, we've got a question mark for the 9th deadly sin. So there's another potential witch that we don't even know about yet. That is potentially somewhere. Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on here. Are we going to get any of that information in this season? Who the fuck knows? Because that was a cliffhanger from season 2. I'm still waiting for some mention of that goddamn door that Emilia is able to see and open for some reason. And then she also looks like Satella. So, I don't know, my fucking thing is she could be Satella's daughter or Satella's niece, or they share, you know, blood in some way, shape, or form. Satella was able to possess her body back in season 2. Is she potentially a reincarnation of Satella the same way we have Alessa in the Silent Hill movie? I don't know, but it could be. I mean, if I was writing a torture anime like this, I'd probably use Silent Hill as a reference. Place has a lot of good ideas. I'm just saying, barbed wire through the body. Good shit. But anyway, like, we're talking about a lot of shit. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for some of the plot points from bloody season 2 to get brought up. It's like, I get it, all these archbishops. But for the love of God, like, that freaking door is the pink elephant in the room. Like, you've got 4 archbishops. I hope they in some way are working towards this common goal. Because they seem to just be, like, procrastinating more than I do at work. The clown that beat Roswell was the Witch of Melancholy, Kuma. Okay, so he's the witch. Number 9. There we go. Guys can also be witches. He said the 9 witch hasn't been revealed, but he was in season 2. They revealed who he was in the flashback. Alright, cool. I thought he was an archbishop. Turns out he's a witch. Works for me. Kuma, I've been wondering because it's hard to tell. But what is your honest opinion about Subaru? You guys already know what my honest opinion about Subaru is. Why are we even talking about him at this point? I've been saying what my opinion is of him the entire season. Why do people keep asking? Are you guys going to keep asking the same question over and over again, hoping for a different answer? Because it kind of sounds like it. Anyway, let's carry on. By the way, with those pillars damaged like that, that entire thing is just going to collapse. Kuma, who is your favorite archbishop? See, I have to say Betelgeuse because so far he's been the most entertaining. Like, we've got 4 archbishops in this arc, and Betelgeuse in season 1 has had more screen time than the 4 of these archbishops put together. So these archbishops need to lift their game. Like, they've got so many abilities, so much potential, so much personality. Yeah? Come on. Come on. Where are the memes? Give me the... Like, have you seen how many Betelgeuse memes there are? Do I have to show you my Betelgeuse in a wedding dress again? Exactly. Exactly. These archbishops need to step it up. Alright, let's go. It's the memes. These archbishops need to... There's a quota here. They haven't filled it. They actually have 5 demands. Subaru has to marry Betelgeuse. By the way, Betelgeuse is back. And I think we should just give in to their demands. Oh, they're having this conversation. Yeah, of course. They're going to go after Emilia. You see, the funny thing is here, right? If Emilia's getting married, she's probably the safest person. Because why would he want to get rid of the girl that he just kidnapped and he's about to marry? Like, it's the newest toy. You're not going to break your newest toy. Exactly. So she's probably the safest person in the city. Because none of the other witches can actually hurt her in any way, collateral or otherwise, because Reggie's, you know, we've seen what Reggie does. But, of course, Subaru's priority is going to be Emilia. Watch, if he says that priority is Emilia, exactly. Exactly. The logical thing would be to secure the damn gates and pick off the easiest archbishop. That would be the thing. Weaken them. Yeah, you could take out Reggie, but from what we've seen, Reggie doesn't work with the other archbishops. You should take out Wrath. Wrath should be the one that you're going for, because then that's going to remove the AoE effect of everyone losing their shit. You should be going for Wrath. That's the wild card here. Yeah, you've got Capella that can go around and turn people into flies and shit. If she was gonna do that, she would have done it already. She's fucking doing fuck all. Wrath is the one that's passively fucking everyone. You know what I mean? Like, so... Nah. But if he says, like, oh, let's go after Greed because Rem, I'm just gonna facepalm. But, like, you get my point, right? There's the strategic priority of who you should be going for, and then there's the penis compass. I'm putting my dollar that Subaru is gonna go with the penis compass. But we'll see. We've got like 8, 9 people in the room. I'm hoping one of them at the very least can prioritize targets. Ram burnt it. What? But isn't Ram the one that burnt it, or was that just the one that Thingo had? Roswell had. Wait, so you have the Tome of Wisdom, but you haven't read it? So had you read the Tome of Wisdom, you would have known this would happen. But you didn't read it. Why? Were you too busy writing in your own diary? Dear diary, people hate me. Plus I keep money in my hat. How will this information help me in the future? I do not know. I have a tome that says the future, but I will not read it. Ram. Yeah, about that. I am just gonna leave this all-powerful tome with some professional. I don't even know his name, but like, I hope he's honest. Actually, while we're on the topic, let's go on this topic here. Remember how I said everyone said Al was sus? Because he left the group when shit went down? You know who else left the group before shit went down? But no one accused of being sus? Exactly! Oh my god! How am I supposed to read the subtitles at the bottom at the top? Okay, hear me out. I am gonna read the bottom and then I'm gonna read the song. Actually, I do think Al might be a Subaru from the future. I like her. I like her. Oh, everything's going orange. I don't like things going orange. Okay, now let's try to hear the song before future Subaru got knocked into the little girl, which I'm also judging him for. What was she trying to sing? We like her? Well, at least she's not a little girl. I'll give you that. If you like this one, then I judge you. What the hell was this song? Is that Roswell's name? Okay, but to be fair, he did make like one of those spell contracts that he can't work against Emilia or he will die. So like, why don't you interrogate him? Because he can't work against Emilia, which would imply that he can't lie to her. Which basically means he would have to tell her the truth. Oh shit! You know, out of everyone here, he must feel the worst. He's a bodyguard. And not only did she lose her memory, but she also now almost mortally got injured. That's twice that she got injured and he wasn't around. Plus, his wife got screwed as well. Like, yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, just putting it out there. Damn! Alright, change of plans. Go for Capella and make her undo this. Surely Reinhardt can keep killing her long enough that she runs out of energy. Maybe it's like one of those homunculi things where she's able to regenerate body parts as long as she has energy. Eventually she'll run out. No energy source is infinite. Yeah, but unlike you don't have the other curse offsetting it. Actually, if another curse is able to offset it, are you able to get a curse user? But you don't know how it works, so that doesn't help. Shit. I was gonna say, if you're able to be healed, what if you gave us some of your blood? I mean, at this point, it looks terminal, so, like, I wouldn't be so worried about having a different blood type. Funny story about that. I heard a story about my grandfather's blood brother during the war, but I'll tell you guys at the end. It involves blood transfusions. I'm just gonna put it out there. One of the things I would have tried after the train wreck that was the assault on the Capella and the other people was I would have tried to, jump off a tower head first. I know people are gonna talk about not wasting your lives and shit, but like, I'd still do it. That was a pretty bad outcome, I'm just saying. I would have at least tried it once. But anyway, keep judging me. This is just sheer bloody luck that he's actually able to absorb some of it. Like, this is sheer fucking luck. Like, sheer luck. Because if he wasn't able to absorb some of it and have it healed in his body, she would have been dead. Just saying. Can I not upskirt this? Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. Alright, hear me out here. But I know for a fact if I absorbed too much of this, if I was in his situation and I would die from it, Satella would just checkpoint me back to the point before it's lethal. So even if I took too much and died, I'd be fine. Just saying. It's worth a shot. See, this is what I meant by deductive reasoning. This is something that you could actually work on. It's just logic. That's all it is. But fine. Let's not.
きっと怪我人は増え続ける。お前がいなきゃ救えない命が山ほどあるんだ。だからそれを頼む。一番助けたい人は助けられないのにね。ウェリス。ごめん、バカなこと言った。しばらく二人だけにさせて。
See, I'm not going nuts about that. I'm not going nuts about it. About not even trying. Or not figuring it out or anything like that. But like, this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. Calling it quits before exhausting every possible option. Subaru is lacking a deductive reasoning department, but he makes up for it with his results. Yeah, but the point is, the results he gets is from pure luck. Like, the outcomes that he gets is from luck. It's not from planning and execution. It's not from some ability. It's just like winging it and getting lucky. That's... Whatever. I don't understand why people simp for this. I don't understand why people simp for this. It's just... I don't get it. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm keeping it light here. Keeping it light.
感謝。逆に俺が葉っぱをかけられちまいました。スバル殿、都市調査での戦いを経て、私からも一つ報告したいことが。何ですか？滞在司教に同行していた魔女教と、あの二人の剣士の正体です。一人は八つ腕の車、ボラキア帝国の最強の剣士。8本の腕を用いた豪剣の使い手です。本人は10年以上前に死んだはずです。死んだはずって？そしてもう一人は、先代の剣聖、テレシア・バン・アストレア。15年前の大征伐の折、白芸に敗れて死んだはずの私の妻です。
I kind of feel like that Orochimaru could be involved in this one. Two dead people on the front lines. That kind of seems like his MO.
数十年前のアジン戦争の最中、死体を操る禁術を扱った者がいました。
Yep, it's Orochimaru.
その者はすでに滅んでいますが、
Fuck.
問題はその禁術。
Fuck.
死体を操る。蘇った者たちは、屍兵と呼ばれていました。
Oh, come on. You could at least call it something better than corpse soldiers. Come on. Come on. Corpse soldiers? Come on.
屍兵。ラインハルトには伏せておいていただけませんか。
Yeah, the psychological impact. He might not be able to do the job. See, that's the really good thing about being able to do something like that. It's not just necessarily the fact that they're corpses, meaning you don't have to worry about them dying, or the fact that they're retaining some of their abilities from life, or the fact that you can cherry pick incredibly strong people. But there's also the psychological impact of having them fight people who they don't want to fight. Like this guy. It just kills your resolve. It demoralizes you.
あいつに奥さんのことを話すなってことですか。スバル殿は、剣聖の加護は特別なものであることはご存知ですか。歴代の剣聖はみんな持ってて、それですごい強いみたいな漠然としたことしか。おおよそそれで間違いありません。ただ唯一、剣聖の加護は他の加護と明確に違う点。それは受け継がれる加護ということです。受け継がれる加護。その加護は代々アストレア家に宿り、必ず時代の剣聖を一族の中から選ぶ。妻の加護もまた、ラインハルトに受け継がれたものです。一族で受け継がれる加護。それで奥さんが亡くなって、ラインハルトに。白芸との戦いの最中だったのですよ。
I just noticed he gripped his other hand really quickly. 戦
いの中で妻は加護を失い、ただ一人の女として された妻に剣を捨てさせ、あの妻の最後を招いた。フィルヘルムさん。カゴを継承したラインハルトをなじったのは事実です。祖母の死を悲しみ、重すぎる宿命を背負わされたばかりの幼い孫を私は許せなかった。後悔しています。妻の死にラインハルトの責任など何もないのだから。俺が黙ってても屍兵がどこに現れるかわからないですよ。それこそ無用の心配というものですよ。妻がテレシアが私に会いに来ないはずなどありませんからな。
But the real question is, who's the caster? I mean, out of the archbishops that we've seen so far, none actually appear to be mastermind material. We've got a crazy bandage lady. We've got an insane fly lady. We've got a put him in a brazen bull. I don't even know what to call him, but like just put him in the brazen bull. And then we've got Roy and Lai, I think you pronounce it that. See, I'm remembering names. Important characters, I remember their names. None of them strike me as mastermind material, much less using forbidden techniques, much less having the proficiency to use such techniques. Lai, at the very least, seems to enjoy just toying with people. Or maybe it was Roy or whatever. Anyway, you get my point. They don't strike me as the types to use these type of techniques. That kind of strikes me as something someone like Pandora could possibly use. Because she's OP, but she can't be at all places at once. But she can empower her units by giving them additional units. Sure, she has the archbishops, who are corrupted through witch factors, which overtake their consciousness and corrupt them, as we saw with Betelgeuse. And then potentially you have their fingers, which could be swayed using the witch factors or just blind obedience through being members of the witch cult. But that still leaves your numbers relatively small, and you might not have a lot of fighting power. So you could make up for that by using old knowledge. And being a witch would mean that you have access to very old knowledge because you've been around for a while. It kind of fits the MO. So I'd put my money on a witch being the caster of it. Yes, the person that was responsible for knowing this technique is dead, but it doesn't mean that they were the only ones that knew about it. Whoever has control of what is the gospel, if there is someone in control of them, I don't know, the mastermind. Well, we don't know how it works, but, you know, it's too early to assume that the caster, or whoever's using it, is dead. Because how would it work then? You raise people from the dead and they're blindly going to obey whoever you tell them to obey? I don't know. I would think they would need an energy source in order for the corpse to be reanimated. I don't think the corpse itself would have an energy source. I think the energy supplier would have to be the caster. Which would mean if the caster is nearby, there would be somewhere not engaging in combat so they could focus on providing energy to the corpses. They could be just another finger or something like that. I don't know. But there must be a mechanism in place for how this thing works. Whether it be a proximity, whether it be an amount of energy that you need to, give, or like there must be a mechanism. Otherwise, it's just completely broken. You just resurrect a dead person, tell them to do something, and then you can kick the bucket, and they'll continue obeying that order. That just sounds too powerful. Although it could be that, but like it just doesn't feel right. It feels too powerful. It feels too easy. It wouldn't make logical sense in terms of casting magic. There are still rules to casting magic.
それ本気なん？何度も言わせるでない。わらわが4番街のフンドとやらの首をはねてやる。
Oh! Oh! Oh god! Oh god, she's prioritizing the targets! Oh god! Oh god! Oh, sweet Jesus.
そこの歌目と二人でな。いやいやいや、さっきから私をご指名なのはなしてですか？
Because wrath amplifies everything close to her.
道中、避難所を巡る間、貴様の歌がどれだけ凡族どもの心を揺らした？
Priscilla, you have to stop, otherwise I might fall in love. I'm just saying.
あれと同じことをすればよい。そうよな。
Oh, she's got a little cross there as well. Jesus Christ, I never noticed that.
確かにこいつのバカさと歌声がフンドの権能のカウンターになりそうなのはわかる。でも確信がねえ。確信か。何か確かめる手段はあるか。今授かった。
Yeah.
審判のカゴだよ。一目見ればその人物の持つカゴがわかる。
Bruh.
驚いたな。確かに彼女は電信のカゴの所有者だ。
Telepathy, you say? Yeah, I was saying. Her song is infusing her voice. So if she was the one on the meteor singing, she would have, like, completely amplified the effect.
だが考えたこともなかったな。俺はお前に驚いた。今授かったって言った？
Subaru, you could also have the same ability if you utilized your brain. I'm just saying. Anyway, doesn't matter, 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 doesn't matter.
そげなことを言われても、私、期待に応えられるか、ちょっぴし自信が。
Give her a head pat, tell her she's doing a great job, and call her a good girl, and promise her a teddy bear and hot chocolate. It does matter. I'm just saying, the kid spent a lot of time in his bedrooms playing dating simulators and probably encountered RPGs and magic and shit once or twice before, but clearly he doesn't have any sort of reasoning or logic as to how any of that would work because he was probably too busy jacking off to white-haired elf girls on the internet porn websites. I'm just saying, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. I don't think I can be any more disappointed than I already am.
なるほど。ならば、貴様は先祖から面々と受け継いだ歌の敗北を認めるのじゃな。
See, she's clever. She knows exactly what button to push.
それはどういう意味で？五章大事に歌い継いできた貴様のそれは、人心が救いを求めるこの時に縮こまって声も出ぬのだろう？いらぬわ、その言い方。そこまで言いますか？言ってしまいますか？上等ですよ。言ってやりますよ。いいでしょう。聞かせましょう。ここで黙っちゃ女が廃る。
Oh, Priscilla. If only you weren't so slov.
悲しくも都市の水面に散った桐高さんの鎮魂歌でも歌う気でいましたが、やめないやめない。このリリアナに担当を任せてください。ってことで、フンドはプリシラとリリアナに任せるでいいな。うちはまあ納得したわ。みんなもそれでええのと違う？じゃあ次は一番街の色欲の攻略だ。多分ここが敵の最大戦力になる。滞在司教本人と二人の魔女教徒。
I would 100% send Reinhard in that party. Although you would probably have to send Wilhelm too, which would create a little bit of an awkward dynamic, especially considering what Priscilla did. But prior to that happening, there was a little bit of hope. And plus, Wilhelm's probably one of the best people to deal with his wife, other than Reinhard, simply because he knows her fighting style. Everyone else will just be doomed. If Reinhardt's able to focus on Capella and possibly Roy, they could be okay. Whereas the swordsman, you can have a bunch of people here. All they have to do is hold out. If they can hold out for long enough for Reinhardt to take out one or possibly two archbishops, you could be good. Ideally, you would capture Capella and use her. But that might be a difficult thing to achieve. And plus, we don't know whether or not she might even be able to affect Reinhardt. It is still a risky play, but it seems like the logical one.
下手するとアジュもそれら全てが色欲の手勢と君はそう考えているのか？アジュはあいつらの生態からしてかなり濃厚。二人の魔女教徒はおそらく屍兵と呼ばれる禁術で操られる剣士です。つまり彼らは蘇った剣士たちということですか？
I wouldn't say resurrected. Resurrected implies they still have their free will. More like puppeteered, like a marionette.
なら俺がやり合った相手は八つ腕の
Well, if only you had a Kenpachi on your team.
他に思い当たらねえ。もう片方の女も同じような立場だろうよ。そして死者を恥ずかしめる屍兵の禁術は。
Look, I'd rather they violate the dead by reanimating them and making them fight rather than corpse fucking. Let's just put that out there. Out of the two, this is much better. At least this gives them a little bit of honor in death. Whereas the other one is just, well, you know.
色欲の滞在司教の趣味思考にかなっているか。確かに納得はできる。で、その色欲の攻略をウィルヘルムさんとガーフィールに任せたい。
And what about Reinhardt?
大層
Why do I feel like he's gonna ask Reinhardt to come with him to go for Reggie? Even though technically speaking, Reggie hasn't engaged anyone so far, seems to have absolutely no interest in fighting anyone, and whose only interest it is to marry Emilia, which means she's safe.
大将、エミリア様を助けに行くんだろ。だったら俺が。お前がそう言ってくれんのは嬉しいし、心強いよ。でも、お前はお前で、つけなきゃならねえ決着があるはずだ。
There's a little problem with that. You just need to make sure you don't get too emotional about it.
嬉しさは現在、色欲の影響で苦しんで
Oh no, don't tell me it's the end of the episode. I'm gonna be pissed.
おられます。主のために私に討伐をお任せいただきたく。僕は反対です。ラインホルト。今のおじい様は冷静ではありません。
Finally, someone actually understands.
その役目は僕が引き受けるべきです。ラインハルト。私を、お前の祖父を誰だと思っている。ですが、おじい様。私は剣気と呼ばれた男だ。平成でないことなど、戦場にある私には左半時だ。14年かければ、錆びついた剣であっても、妻の敵が撃てる程度には切れ味を残した。まだ、鞘に収まるには早い。
Oh god, I'm getting death flags.
スバル殿、ラインハルトをあなたの戦場へお連れください。どのみち、この後話すつもりだったんだけどな。お前には、俺と一緒に強欲と戦ってもらいたい。
Penis compass! Going for the one target that had absolutely no interest in engaging in any of the other fights and would have kept Emilia safe. Penis compass, ladies and gentlemen.
無敵に最強をぶつけるっていかにも力技って感じになっちまうけどさ。俺からも頼む。大将とエミリア様の力になっちゃいかねえか。ならば誓ってほしい。君が僕に期待するように、僕は君に期待する。互いに必ずやり遂げようと。ああ、任せとけ。君とおじい様の勝利を信じている。僕はスバルの剣になろう。
It's crazy how easy it is to predict Subaru's behavior. I just think of the most retarded move you could make, and without fail, he does it. The most retarded thing you could possibly do is go to the clock tower by yourself and engage Wrath, and he does it. The most retarded thing is to go for the one person that doesn't want to actually fight, and he does it. It's like... I know what Frieza from Team 4 Star Abridged feels like. Honestly, it's just... yeah.
頼ってばっかで本当に悪い。お前の足りない部分はどうにか補うから期待しててくれよ。どうした？なんでもないことなんだろうね、君には。ああ、期待させてもらう。僕では届かない部分を君が埋めようとしてくれることに。ああ、大いに期待してくれ。俺もお前に期待してるから。
それで最後に残った暴食やけど、
はい。暴食は私とリカードが引き受けよう。何や勝手に。ま、いいけどね。
頼むな。そしてうちとフェリスさんらが都市庁舎に残る。これで決まりやね。
よし、やろうぜみんな。この戦い。俺たちの勝利だ。
Completely underutilizing his ability to take risks that might result in death for possible really good outcomes. And then also decision making, and it's just sort of like... Anyway, let's keep going. It is what it is.
驚いた
Oh god, your outfit.
こうしてみると
Oh god, she looks like Echidna.
79番の席を開けておいたのは正解だった。
You idiot, you should have left number 69 open.
どうしてその番号だけ空席に？
それはね、以前その番号にふさわしいと思って見初めた女性がいたんだよ。だけど迎える前に
Okay, let's take a look at the girls. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. And... Well... I mean... Yeah. They're reusing a few, but it's fine.
不適切だと判断
I mean, it's a little bit like K-pop. They're basically all the same girl with a different hairstyle and hair color. It's like, select your character. Hairstyle. Hair color. Everything else is the same, including the plastic surgeon.
して空席にしたんだ。そのおかげで君に出会えた。まさに運命的な出会いだ。
前に空席に。
じゃあ、早速婚姻の儀を交わすとしようか。
ねえレグルス、結婚の前に私からいくつか話しておきたいことがあるの。
Oh, oh, they must have seen this before. Oh, God. Reggie, I just gotta say one thing. If you lay a finger on her, I'm gonna come up with new and creative ways to torture you. And that's not something I do on a regular basis. But I'm just saying.
実は僕の方からも話しておきたいことがあってね。
Oh, the fake smile.
大丈夫。妻として当然の心得みたいなものさ。まず第一に、僕と結婚した後、君には笑顔を禁じる。普通にしてたら可愛いし綺麗なのに、払うとブスになる子っているじゃない？僕、あれが許せないんだよね。だから、表情変化はまとめて禁止だ。笑うな、泣くな、怒るな、喜ぶな。ただ可愛い顔をしていろ。
それってなんだかすごく。
さ、もしかして君、僕に何か文句でもあるの？これだけ君に配慮と譲歩をしてるのに。思いやりがわからないってことでしょ？それってつまり、僕という一個人を軽視する行いだ。僕の権利の侵害だ。
This guy is basically Season 1 Subaru if he got power instead of the ability to resurrect.
許せないの。
私ね、結婚ってすごく幸せなものだと思ってるの。
はぁ？
好きな人同士が一緒にいたいって思ったことを形にする儀式。たくさんの人の中からたった一人を見つけて、そしてその相手も好きになってくれて、それって本当にすごいことだと思うの。ねえレグルス、あなたはどうして奥さんたちを番号で呼ぶの？
It's easier to remember than names.
呼び方にこだわるのかい？それって物事の外面にこだわるのと同じで、いかにも上っ面な関係性だよね。
でも私、スバルにエミリアタンって呼ばれるの嫌いじゃないわ。
スバル。
エミリアタンって呼んでくれる声にスバルの気持ちが詰まってる。たまにエミリアって呼び捨てにされると特別な時だってすぐにわかる。それが無駄なことなんて全然思えない。名前ってそういう思いが込められてるはずだもの。
さ、スバルって誰のこと？っていうか男の名前だよね。これから結婚しようって女の子が夫にしようって相手の前で違う男の名前を出すっていうのはいくらなんでも非常識なんじゃないの？たとえ大した関わり合いのない相手でも傷つくよね。わかる？
大した関わり合いのない人なんかじゃないわ。スバルは私のたった一人の騎士様で、私のことを好きだって言いながら名前を呼んでくれる人。
動くな。動いたらそいつの首から下を消し飛ばす。弁明を聞こう。言葉に気をつけて勘違いさせないように全力で配慮するんだ。
You know, I am in a very difficult bind. On one end, I hate Reggie. On the other end, if Emilia dies, Subaru is hurt. And the checkpoint might get moved forward. I am at a very difficult crossroads.
この結婚式を誰かの葬儀にするつもりはない。
Weddings are just funerals with cake.
それってすごくひどいことで、スバルを傷つけて困らせてるのも分かってる。だけど、まだ人を好きになるってことが分かってない私だけど、きっといつか誰かのことを好きになる。
I love how she says someone someday. I am cheering for her to pick anyone that isn't Subaru. Actually, I've changed my mind. I hate Reggie. I want Emilia to survive, and I want her to pick someone else that isn't Subaru. That would be my happy ending.
誰かのことをきっと女の人として愛する。そしてそうなった時、誰のことを好きになるかはもう決めてるの。だから、私はあなたのものにはならないわ。
そうかい。僕も君みたいな勝手な浮気女を妻にするつもりなんてなくなったよ。せいせいするな。
He's gonna say I object.
せーので蹴ったら全然結果が違うじゃねえか。どういう脚力だよ。すまない。加減ができなかった。助けに入った時のかっこよさが段違いになるだろう。神聖な結婚式に殴り込みなんていい度胸じゃないか。招待客に男の名前はなかったはずだけど、君たちはどこの誰でどんなご祝儀を持ってきたのかな。パートナー精霊不在の精霊騎士夏木スバル、牽制の家系ラインハルト・バン・アストレア。この結婚式に物申すってな。
Oh, he did exactly what I thought he would. He is so predictable. You know what's funny? My dog is less predictable than Subaru.
その花嫁さらわせてもらうぜ。
Funny how how does that keep, oh my god. I find it funny how that keeps happening. I find it so funny. And we're gonna get the Reinhardt and Reggie scenario that I was saying would be funny. Immovable object, unstoppable force. Let's see what happens. Let's divide by 0, baby. Let's see what happens. One of the two will be stronger. What's stronger? Reggie's ability to not take damage or Reinhardt's ability to deal damage? One of the two has to be stronger. Because if it's not, F my life. Kuma has future sight. I don't. I just have something called a brain. Do you know why I keep recommending The Art of War so highly? Everyone thinks The Art of War is about winning in combat. Everyone thinks it's about strategy on the field, or battle formation, or battle preparation. It's not. Supreme excellence isn't winning all your battles. Supreme excellence is winning without ever having to fight. That is supreme excellence. Understanding your opponent to such a degree that you can win without ever having to engage them. That is supreme excellence. It's not about fighting ability. The fighting ability is just a means. It's not the goal. That is why I recommend it so highly. It is a means of thinking. It doesn't teach you to fight. It teaches you to think. It's just that's it. That's all it takes. And any mention of improving those faculties, which can turn the tide when things are not in your favor, is interpreted as hate. Sure, that's a really easy way to rationalize something you don't understand. Stick a label on it. I don't understand or comprehend the words that are being said. I'm going to stick a label called hater, because it's easier to disregard a person's opinion than it is to comprehend and engage it. Because I am a Subaru simp and I am an intellectual. Yes. And it is easier to just agree with you than try to prove you wrong. Because let's face it, it's not gonna happen. Yes. Yes. Subaru simp 4621. Yes. Best MC ever. Yes. Yes. They really should have either waited to start this show until they were able to consecutively do the episodes. Gaps aren't good. Gaps aren't good. There's momentum. I understand the cliffhanger. I understand the marketing tactic of, if you want to find out what happens, buy the light novel. But from an anime viewer point of view, this drip feeding is killing momentum. Because we feel it's going to be epic now. But are we going to feel that in 3 months? I don't know. Attack on Titan would like to have a word with you. I don't think that's the way to do it. If it was a week, 2 weeks, if we were in December and it was like December 15, 16, and the new episode was coming like January 5th or 6th, I get it. New Year, Christmas, 2 weeks, cool. 3 months? And then after like 8 episodes, we're going to wait again? That momentum is sort of... You're not getting that roller coaster up and then riding it. You're instead going... That's the thing. Because, like, reacting to stuff on Monday, and we do this on a regular basis, we watch 2-3 episodes of something. And for a lot of people, it's a weekly release. But we watch 2-3 episodes of something. And because of that, we sort of watch a story arc or we watch a story act. Because stories are told in acts. Whether you're writing an anime, a light novel, a video game, it doesn't really matter. When you're doing storytelling, you've got Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. And those acts have a sort of structure. You can play around with it, but there's a sort of framework that you work with. You introduce things, you build the world, you sort of interact with people. Act 1, Act 2, a little bit of things start moving around. People start interacting. Something gets introduced. Act 3 is when you've gone into third gear and you're accelerating like fucking crazy. Act 4 is when shit starts exploding. Climax. And then Act 5, you've got your sort of epilogue. Right? If you do Act 1... and then you start Act 2, and then you take a 3-month break, and you come back to Act 2, and you kind of go halfway into Act 3, and then you take a break. The momentum, the pacing, the emotion, the hype, the fact that you might not recall every single individual small detail is a problem. And a lot of anime people will say, well, the solution is simple. Go back to episode 1 of season 1, rewatch the 24 episodes, watch another 24 episodes of season 2, and watch another 8 episodes of season 3 before, season 3 part 2 comes out. Does everyone have time to do that? I mean, if I was in high school, or I was in university and unemployed, yeah, I'd have time to do that. But even at uni, I had 2 fucking jobs and I was training martial arts full time, competing internationally. So no, even then I wouldn't have the time. So it's like the release schedule, you can tell that it's business minded. They want to sell light novel. It's not done so that the anime is released in such a way to tell the story in the best possible way. It's done as an advertisement for light novels, which I understand, but because of that, it hinders the impact that the anime itself has when you're watching it week on week. It's as simple as that. It slows it down, it kills momentum, it negatively impacts the experience of the viewer. That's me being honest. Call me a hater, call me whatever the fuck you want. That's my reasoning. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's your opinion. This is my opinion. Agree to disagree. But that is just purely how I feel. I enjoyed season 1 a lot more because I was able to watch it in such a way that I was able to carry through the momentum, even though a lot of parts of season 1, if I was forced to watch them week by week, would make me want to kill myself. Luckily, I was able to ride that momentum, and because of that, was able to push through parts of the story that I didn't particularly like that would otherwise make me probably quit watching it. Season 2 luckily had a lot of things happening. There were a few things in Season 2 during the world building and the exposition and the character introduction that slowed things down. It was a week-by-week release with a little bit of break. There was problems. But luckily, I joined late enough that I didn't have to watch it week by week. So again, I could use the momentum to push through. Now I'm watching it with you guys week by week, and I can see the pain. It's painful. And now that there's going to be a gap of a few months, it's going to be even worse. I can see it happening. Luckily, the MC's not that complex. So it's easy to keep track of what's going on in his head, because there's not a lot. If it was a lot more complex, I might be fucked. Luckily, it's not. It's easy to keep track of where everyone's movement is right now. 4 towers, 4 archbishops, question mark on the witch, a few zombie Edo Tensei soldiers running around. We know where everything is. Easy to remember. Every episode, all I feel is so happy that we have it. Every single episode, I enjoy from the start to finish. It's just amazing. I love all the characters. I would call you a super fan. Because then for you, I would probably assume you probably read the light novels. So for you, this is more like fan service. It's a treat to see it animated. Because you don't have to use your imagination when you're reading. And I would say in those regards, yeah, whether there's a break or whatnot, it doesn't make a difference because you're enjoying every single minute of it. You kind of know what's going to happen, or even if they change the story around a little bit, 90% of the time you know what's going to happen. So you're enjoying it. And that's completely fine. If that's the objective of this as a sort of like a fan service delivery thing, your method of delivery, you don't need the momentum because people know what is going to happen. You don't need it. But if you're someone that's watching it anime only and sort of experiencing it as anime media, these are the negatives of this mode of delivery, as we've already talked about. And that's the impact it has on someone like me that doesn't know the story. I'm looking at it ahead. I can only use what I already know to try to deduce what might be happening, and I'm enjoying that experience. But that experience is hindered by pauses. They're different. There are more light novel readers than there are anime fans, which is fine. However, if your objective of the anime is to get more people interested, you might want to make it a little bit more enjoyable. Because if we finished, say, half the season with this whole fight and everything, and one archbishop is down, and it's like, holy shit, I can't wait to see what else happens. And then you've got like a 6-month break. That's fine. You finished an act. This is kind of like mini climax in the middle of an act. And it's like, have any of you guys watched Dragon Ball Z in the West? We used to watch it here in Australia on a news network, not a news network, but a channel called Cheese TV. And Dragon Ball Z started, and it got up to the Namek arc. And then it got up to the point where the first time it was when Gohan steals the Dragon Ball from Vegeta. And then Vegeta finds out that they stole the Dragon Ball and he rages and he's on his way to Krillin and Gohan and Bulma. It reset to episode 1. And then we had to watch it again. The second time, it got to the point where Goku lands after they finish fighting the Ginyu Force and Vegeta's knocked out and Gohan's knocked out, goes back to episode 1. And then we're rewatching it again. Got to that point again, went back to episode 1. So we kept rewatching it, right? I'll be honest, because of that, Namek arc is the most fuzzy arc in my head. Because of that. Because I had to rewatch it like so many times. But being a kid, it's okay, because you're going to rewatch it anyway. But that's kind of what it's feeling like. The gap. That's what it's feeling like. The gap. It kind of kills the momentum. Same thing happened, but for the Frieza fight, it restarted to the start of the Frieza fight. Yeah. It started, we got to the point where they were fighting Frieza, and then Frieza finishes fighting Vegeta. Goku arrives. What happened? Episode 1. Goku arrives, episode 1. It's just like, that's what this feels like. Was it epic watching it as a kid? Yes. Could it have been more epic? Yes. Because the second and the third time I was watching those fights, I lost all that momentum. Had I rode the momentum, it would have been fucking epic. Which is what happens when I'm reacting to anime now. I'm riding that momentum. And I'm basically hitting those peaks in whatever story we're watching. It's just like fucking epic. You know, that's when I start giving like 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 for stories. Because I'm riding the momentum. I'm feeling the entire experience. I'm carrying all the emotions. I care about the characters. I'm remembering a good chunk of everything that's going on. I'm engrossed in the world, right? I'm in there. I'm locked in 100%. That's where you get those, fuck, this was amazing. You know, it's like you've never watched Lord of the Rings, but you watch The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King 3 days in a row. Each night you're watching one of them for the first time on the big screen, and by the end of it you're like, fuck me. This is one of the greatest pieces of cinema I've ever seen, because you're riding that momentum. Versus you watch it, you wait 2 years, you watch it, you wait 2 years, you watch it. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. So everyone's going to be like, Re Zero is the greatest thing that ever came out. Most of those people that are saying that are the light novel readers, not the anime viewers. That's the thing. Anime viewers would score it a lot lower because of that. And of course, if anyone says that, they fucking get butchered online because, you know, all the Subaru stands jump on them. And it's like, well, congratulations, you got a toxic as fuck fandom that doesn't take constructive criticism very well. Congrats, you're just proving a point here. You're just proving a point here. Just proving a point here. You know? It's just like, and because of that, I don't take the fandom seriously. I say anything at all of a sudden, it's just dogpiling. I'm just like, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, it's what happens. I say anything, it's just fucking dogpiled. Like, even that thing I said about Subaru is like, hey, if you started, like, pulling all the poisons out of her and you OD'd on it, wouldn't you just get put back in the timeline before you OD'd? Meaning the biggest risk you face is potentially dying, risk, but the outcome could be that you heal her and she's alive and it's all good in the hood. Isn't it worth the risk? Hater. He values his life. He'd never do that. I'm like, okay, fine. Remove that deductive reasoning. How about the deductive reasoning of potentially thinking through the situation before jumping in head first and potentially getting yourself go? Hater. He had the best of intentions. He didn't want to involve anyone else. Yeah, but didn't she also say that everyone in the ReZero world is built different and combat-wise he is the weakest, which means he will never actually be able to win in an engagement? So wouldn't it make sense at the very least to bring someone along, but he doesn't want them to get hurt? Yeah, but if they get hurt, he would also get hurt in this scenario, wouldn't he? Because they're stronger than him. Hater. Oh, for fuck's sake. You know, that's basically what it feels like. So that's basically why I've muted the entire fucking ReZero community online. That and the fact that I'm beginning to suspect that a good chunk of them probably need to be in prison for pedophilia. But anyways, that's that. But hey, apparently I don't pay much attention to this show. Apparently. We'll agree. Even if I disagree with you, I want to know what you think and talk about it. What about the ReZero community in your Discord server? The ReZero community in our Discord server, see, that's different because it's not a community that was built around the show, but rather it was members of the community that are in the show. And it's a mixture of light novel readers that have a spoiler thread where they're able to basically discuss with each other. but you also have thrown in a mixture of people that are watching the anime for the first time. And so you've got a mix of people that know the story and love it, but they won't spoil it for the people watching the anime. And then you've got a mixture of the people watching the anime. So you've got this organic discussion amongst people that basically respect each other, but they also don't insult each other or feel attacked when anyone questions any of the characters and their actions. So what you end up getting is constructive conversation, like I was mentioning at the beginning when I wanted to bring everyone up to speed. We're basically discussing the geopolitical, situation with the candidates and how each of them brings something else to the table. And then we started discussing all the possibilities of what they can do here and what can happen there and possible outcomes here. And could that be Wilhelm's wife? But if that means that, doesn't that mean she didn't die with the whale? We didn't, no one even hinted or brought up the fact that they could be reanimated corpses. No one. Even though half the people in the Re Zero thread have read the novels, some of which have also read the web novels. No one hinted at it. No one spoiled it. No one did shit. So if we're comparing our Discord community to the fucking broader internet, particularly Twitter, I'd say our community's like SSS tier. Bloody 5-star gacha roll tier. Because we've got a good community. And you know what? I'm happy about that. It's small, it's tight-knit, it's good, it's quality. It's fucking quality. We've got people in our community that are doing the fucking subtitles and uploading it online. Like, we've got fucking good members of the ReZero community. You know what I mean? Like, we've got top tier people. The discussions are fucking delicious. That's why I keep trying to bring you guys up to speed, because it's like, hey, you want to do these discussions? Fucking join us. We're fucking chatting about it all week in between episodes. Fucking thousands of messages every single day. We have a blast. Like, it's just like fucking everything. Fucking non-stop, man. Non-stop. And it's good shit. Yes, occasionally we go down rabbit holes. Occasionally we get involved in broader anime, manga, politics involving Katakawa and the authors and what they may or may not have done and all these other things, right? But, at the very least, we keep it, tasteful, right? We don't dogpile on each other because we're having a good time here. But that's the thing. It's not purely a ReZero community because a lot of the people here are members of other communities. Avatar, Bleach, Chainsaw Man. Some people are playing Fate, Invincible, Has Been Hotel, JoJo, Jujutsu Kaisen, Kaguya Summer Love is War, Konosuba, MT, I'm still judging you motherfuckers, Naruto, Overlord, Spice and Wolf, The Boys, Pokemon, ReZero, Vinland Saga, and then we had a bunch of other ones that we put in the gulag like Attack on Titan, and when they sort of finish after a while, when the story finishes, we kind of get rid of the thread because all the discussions have been done. But like, you know what I mean? There's people from all of these different communities and different shows, and what ends up happening is they try out other shows, because people are like voting what they like. And so what we end up getting is high quality shows. Always. Consistently. Because it's not going to win the vote unless it's good shit. That's why we have such a good time. So yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. I like the world of ReZero. I like the characters of ReZero. It's just that, my god, the MC is a fucking basic bitch. And it's sometimes painful. It's like being able to figure out everything he's going to do in the episode, in the first 20 seconds of the episode, and then I got to spend 25 minutes watching it. And then I'm subjected to people saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm just going, oh my god. We have to vote in the anime monster. Kumo would love it. A mate of mine recommended it. I watched about a dozen episodes of it, so I know the premise. But I haven't watched the majority of the show. But it is a good one. I've watched about a dozen episodes. Sometimes I question whether you feel ReZero is high quality because of your extreme hate towards Subaru. I don't actually think about Subaru. Like, that's the thing. I don't think about him. I take a look at the entire world, the characters within it, the music that's used for it, the art style, and all that sort of stuff. And it definitely has a lot of very strong elements. But definitely the weakest element for me is Subaru and his interaction with other characters. It's by far the weakness, which is why I want the Archbishops to step up their game and bring the memes like Betelgeuse did, because he carried season 1. He was a standout. Just carried that shit. I mean, you had the whole little thing at the beginning with Rem and Ram, and that was adorable, and talking about the ogres and all that sort of other stuff, and having their little story and what happened to them and, everything. But Betelgeuse, just fucking presence, memes. It just added a whole new dynamic. He came onto the show, and it's almost like gravity increased. You could just feel the spiritual pressure. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh shit. Like things just got fucking real. That's what I'm talking about. And now they bring 4 archbishops at the same time. What y'all up to? One of you motherfuckers is trying to get married. One of you motherfuckers is just eating people. One of you motherfuckers is just turning people into fucking flies. And one of you motherfuckers is just fucking insane. You know what I mean? Like, there's 4 of you. And you still haven't done what Betelgeuse did. You know what I mean? Like, hurry up. You've got a quota here. I need memes. I'm still getting Betelgeuse memes. Which means you motherfuckers haven't done enough yet. You would love to read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, Smart MC Supremacy. I like using my brain. I like getting mind fucked. I like getting mind fucked. I loved watching Saw when I was like in high school. I loved it. Saw was one of my favorite franchises because the mind fucking and the misdirection. I watched Saw 2 like 100 times. Picking up every little tiny detail in the movie. It's fucking insane. I love it because it was so well crafted. I love that sort of thing. I love misdirection. I love those type of things. If I can start working out a character, I get so bored of the character. I have to start making up stories in my head to stop getting bored of listening to their stupidity. Like my brain's constantly working. Like that's the thing. I can't turn it off. I can't turn off my brain. I have to find something. So if there's not interesting, colorful, insane characters doing crazy shit, I'm going to get so bored so quickly. You gotta give me, it's mental masturbation. You gotta service it. You know what I mean? You can't just put boobage on the screen. It doesn't do it for me. We should have voted in Vivey, an anime original written by Re Zero author. MC is pretty good. By that, something tells me he would not like Luffy very much. Well, I was beginning to question why the fuck the anime runs for more than 1,000 episodes. It seems you're beginning to answer my question. It's like a fucking soap opera. You could skip like 1,000. You could skip 100 episodes, and you would still probably be able to know what the f is going on, because it's just never ending. It's just never ending. It's like a soap opera, right? Never ending. All right. It's like when you pick up an episode of The Simpsons. All right. You haven't watched it for 5 years, but you can still kind of like, you know what's going on. It's just like, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I will give credit where credit is due, but you have to give me something that's good. And you guys have on a consistent basis, but some characters are just not it. Are just not it. And if you're selling the whole character arc of learning and the hero's journey and how you go through struggles, trials, and tribulations, and you work on them. Okay, if you're going to sell me that, there needs to be growth with good pacing. And we actually had a discussion about that as well on Discord about the whole growth and things that could have been done during the year and stuff like that. And those were the things that I was bringing up. I was bringing on using your brain, strategic thinking, deductive reasoning, learning how to control your emotions under stress, learning how to control your fight or flight response, with adrenaline, dealing with your traumas, which is inhibiting you from using the sloth witch factor, like all these things. And like I brought them up in episode 1, and I'm like, we're gonna have a blast this season with discussions and all this other stuff. And then I just got like bombarded by a tidal wave of no one actually addressing what I was saying, but just like, hater, Subaru best boy ever. And I'm just like, fuck. It's like, I can see the average intelligence of the fandom, and I'm beginning to think that primates might have a higher IQ. Did you know that some primates have IQs of like 80? Some primates have a higher IQ than humans. What does that tell you? Sleeping. Sleep is for the weak. I slept 2 hours yesterday, 4 hours the day before. I just took a nap. Sleep is for the weak. Who sleeps? What is sleep? How do you achieve shit when you're asleep for a third of your life? Did you know humans spend around 10% of their lives in the toilet? Can you believe that shit? You spend a third of your life sleeping, a tenth of your life on the toilet. You better make your time on the toilet damn productive. Kumas, your eyes have really heavy bags under them. No shit. I don't sleep. I'm gonna skip the reaction. Seems like Subaru bashing, which I don't mind, but I get the gist of how the reaction went. You see what I meant? Did you see that? Did you see that shit? I'm not calling you out specifically, but I'm proving a point here. Guys, everyone that's been here for the entire stream, see what I mean? See what I mean? Fucking labels just put on it straight away. Everything that I've been talking about for a fucking hour, from my experience in studying drama and theater and doing Shakespeare and story and telling and hero's journey and everything, fucking disregarded, put on a label of Subaru hating. And I'm just like, case in point. Case and point. Case in point. Case in point. Sorry, an hour and 40 minutes of discussion. Thrown out the window, pop a label on it. And I'm just like, and you know what's really funny? Subaru was less than 5 minutes of the discussion. Less than 5 minutes. And still it got labeled. Crazy shit.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.